Today with me, I got Brandon Cordy, a client of mine who has crushed it and dropped 70 pounds in the past 11 months. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing good.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
Actually, he's outside trying to get like all like the first bunch of steps in for today. So during lunch break.
Like the mindset shift, man. With that,
hmm
Brandon is here today to share his story, his struggles, and where he's heading next. So with that, reintroduce yourself for those that still don't know yet who you are, man, and what you do exactly.
well, my name is Brandon Cordy. I'm a multimedia designer. I work in audio and video production and web design, graphic design, animation, and motion graphics. A lot of things that involve sitting in front of a computer. So like, it was a struggle trying to keep weight down, basically. I had been working out mostly on since 2009, but I was sort of I would be up and down as far as weight was concerned. Like, and I would slack off on things like cardio, just focus on lifting weights. And I was mostly bad at nutrition, really. It was like about like, what to eat, when to eat. I had the idea that a diet or a proper, uh, meal plan involved the like minimal carbs. And so I would go on like a meal plan like that, do it for like a month and then feel tired and cranky and miserable and then just stop doing it. So that was why, like, when I first talked to you, Gabe, like, I reached out and I sort of kind of mentioned a lot of this stuff and we got working basically on like a plan. The funny thing is, our original goal was 250, and then I went past 250. We said, let's go to 225. And so that's where we are now. I'm at 225. When I started working with you, I was at 300. I had started my heaviest last year was 315. So it's like almost that's 90 pounds total. So
Nice. Love to hear the commitment and the will to just keep going. And that's something you've embodied throughout the entirety of the past 11 months. I want to relay more into that kind of mentality and the never give up mindset. What was that like for you in the past 11 months? Was there any point in time where you just felt like giving up, throwing in the towel?
oh, absolutely, especially during the first couple of months and like all like the extra walking and the running and everything, like, knees would hurt, joints would hurt, I would feel old, I would feel tired. Um, Scheduling, I had a special situation where I had to like move out of town for a while and work from a different home for a couple of months. So scheduling wasn't that hard, but like the will to actually get up and sort of kind of go through all the things and like, and getting your body used to that level of exercise, like, it it was difficult at first. Like definitely was a thing of, I have to push through this. Um, and when you very first start doing it, I didn't see like visible results the way I thought I would at first. Like it was gradual, which I found out is actually better because when it's gradual, it's easier to stick to it. It's easier for it to, your body to get acclimated to it. It's no, it's not about the rush. It's about, the destination.
Yeah, like you said, it's about the destination. And I think that's something that a lot of men struggle with in terms of just visualizing a goal for the long term instead
hmm
of short term thinking, which generally does not last. It doesn't create sustainability. So,
Right.
what is your thoughts on looking at things in the longer term in comparison, in relation to weight loss for the average individual?
Um, the biggest things that helped me were the constant charting, the constant getting the measurements, getting the weight, like all the check-ins and the food logging, like being honest as possible, like, I might have forgotten like a prime drink here or there, but trying to stay, as close to logging every single thing that I ate or drunk, every single day. And if I, miss the day, going back and what was it? this, that, what was it?
I
And
feel
making sure that I pull all that up
you know,
and like out of the memory and trying to track it and make sure that I stayed on target. And, and there's lots of temptations, of course, if you're working in an office, people are always trying to offer you food. There's, like get-togethers with friends and families and everything. But you have to sort of kind of be, you don't have to be rude about it, but, you just sort of kind of just be like, I'm going to stay dedicated to this. I'm going to, modify whatever it is I'm going to eat. I'm going to make sure that there's room for all of this. I'm not going to, just go off just because of, social obligations or social expectations.
definitely. Let's talk about that rec room because I know there are a multitude of times where you've been in there, they presented you food, and like you just said, you had to say no. I'm focused on meeting my
Yep.
macros. I'm focused on hitting my target. Was
Yep.
there any sort of behavioral pattern that you noticed that you went through from just saying no and just holding in, locking in on your diet?
I mean, I went from feeling nervous about it to being resolved in it, basically. It's easier to do when you're used to it and everybody else is used to you as well. It helps a lot. And people will eventually will understand. They might signal some mild level of offense at first, but they'll eventually come around to you.
Love to hear it. Now, in relation to doubts, limiting beliefs, this is something that a lot of us struggle with. If it's not fitness, it's some way of life. What were
hmm
limiting beliefs that you had? It could be before or even in the middle of your journey towards realizing 225 pounds from where you were.
I mean, most of my limiting beliefs were had to do with just like life in general about, like where I was going. I was sort of kind of in a lost place, like there were a lot of like family losses, a lot of like, things going on and everything. And it really was about trying to figure out how to finding something that would help me center myself better, finding something that I could, like stay focused on and everything. And I think the most important thing was limiting beliefs as far as like when you're trying to actually drop weight, your focus has to be on not trying to lift the heaviest as possible. And that was like, a blow to my ego for a good while as far as like, I can't, like, try to, max out a bench or whatever because I'll pull things. I did pull something very early on, but I was able to basically like work through it and recover. It had to be a thing of understanding, like, it's not a shameful thing to lower the weights on things. It's more important about getting the like movements in, getting all the reps in versus how heavy things are. And that can be, especially for me, that was like, like I, had to deal with like the ego blow of that. But that's like, that's all internal basically. So
Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta let go of that ego and
yeah,
just be focused on what's going to work for us in the longer term. And that deals with a lot of strength training in terms of repetition, but keeping that moderate so you can still feel the work that you're putting in, even when you're
right,
in the gym.
right.
Smooth. Let's dive into your results. I want you personally to tell me what you've accomplished in the past 11 months so far, from being at 300 pounds initially.
Well, I went all the way down to 225. Like I lost, I think it's almost exactly 10 inches off my waist. I was able to fit into clothes I hadn't worn in years. And now actually I probably need to buy like a couple of new outfits because like most everything is very much very big on me now. Um, I don't tire as easily during like the day, basically just from, being up and being awake. It's easier to get up, it's easier to go to bed. Um, when I'm sore, or whatever, it's easier to recover. And like one of the main things I'm trying to worry about is like uh my blood pressure and everything. That's been like pretty good lately and everything. So, it's been pretty good basically. It's been like a great place to arrive at.
Definitely. It's reassuring to hear that it's been beneficial for you health wise in all areas of life. Now, let's go and look into your future, man. In the next three
hmm
to 6 months, are there any It could be in the short term, maybe, or even in the near to far future. Are there anything that you foresee for yourself, fitness wise, moving forward, or could be in your life as a graphic designer?
Well, fitness wise, I want to like put on a little bit of like muscle, basically, not a whole lot. Like, so going down to 225 is as low as I probably want to go. But like, like slowly like raising the calories up a little bit and, but monitoring progress, making sure that I'm not just putting on like, like bad weight basically. And, seeing where I end up and not trying to have a set going more off of, like feeling and energy level versus like trying to hit like a certain number because I don't know what that certain number even would be. And I don't want to try to shoot something that's too high or something even that's too low. So I would like to do it, but I'm definitely going to keep doing the cardio and the steps. I'm not going to stop that for as long as I can possibly do it. So, I'm going to keep on tracking that through. Like I'm going to keep myself dedicated to that. Um, Career wise, I have some ideas in mind, but I'll see where all that goes. I have to make some things, put some things in place before I can really make any declarations there. But I have some ideas in mind.
Beautiful. That's good to hear. Now, is there anything that you would say to any other individual listening, whether it's on live, whether it's on repeat, about where they are, if they're stuck, if they're lost, frustrated, anxious? What would you say to that individual?
Think about where you want to be and think about like, balance out, make sure that your fitness routines and your fitness goals are a part of your regular daily life and that you don't see it as a burden. You see it as simply as part of life. You don't see it as like a chore. You see it as like, something as simple as, brushing your teeth or taking a shower. You sort of kind of put it in that level in your mind where, you need to do it, but you don't, it doesn't feel like a burden. And try to find not the easiest way to do this, but the way that makes things most comfortable for you, and then grow from that and add complexity to that.
Beautifully said. There you have it from Brandon Cordy himself. I am grateful for your journey and where you are and where you will be going in the near future. But above all, thank you for supporting my journey to be my first ever client. It means more to me than you could ever possibly know,
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
without a doubt.